What's good, everybody? I'm BPC and welcome to Competitive Origins MMA. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you can be notified on future videos. And please ground and pound that like button. Now, today's topic is on the proposal from Dana White, who would like to see International Fight Week reborn at Fight Island. That's right, and it would be headlined by Dustin the Diamond Poirier and the Notorious Conor McGregor. And I'll talk more about that in just a moment, but first, I want to point out that I'm wearing a Competitive Origins Just an Obstacle t-shirt, which you can get at competitiveorigins.com. Now, if you type in promo code MMA19, you'll get 10% off your order. Now, a portion of the proceeds will go towards the channel so we can provide a better experience for you guys at home. You've been competing since conception, whether you're competing against yourself or others, Competitive Origins. So, Dana White is saying International Fight Week at Fight Island this January. Now, that's a quick turnaround if you really think about it. You know, the fights are supposed to take place in the middle of January, leading through the rest of January over the course of a week. You know, we still have all this COVID going around. There's a lot of spreading of it. A lot more people are getting infected. A lot of headlining fights are getting canceled and regular fights as well, like this upcoming pay-per-view that's going to take place today. So now you're thinking like, all right, you know, how are they going to be able to pull this off? Now, Dana has said fans, you know, he would love to have the fans in attendance, you know, but, you know, he's like, they might not be able to make it. Maybe they will. He does have the support of Abu Dhabi behind him, but they have to figure out a solution that's going to work best for everybody. Now, there was a proposal that, you know, they will be testing, you know, while they're on the island, and they'll be pre-testing before they even arrive to the island. And you're thinking like, all right, but Dana kind of said if we have to do the whole 2-week quarantining period, it's just not going to work out. There's no way they're going to be able to fly people in, have them quarantined for several weeks, and then go to the event and then basically fly right back out of there. It's just not going to happen. So, you know, as far as the card is concerned, though, and that's really exciting, you know, you have Holloway versus Kattar on Saturday. Then that upcoming Wednesday, we're going to have Chimaev versus Edwards. And then that next Saturday, we're going to have Dustin Poirier against Conor McGregor. So it's an awesome lineup. You know, just those 3 fights alone is like, you got you drooling. But the fact that they're going to take place over the course of 1 week is even more awesome. Now, people are still wondering, how is he going to pull this off? You know, I'm still wondering too. You know, the fights will take place, but who is going to be in attendance is quite the question. You know, go into the comment section below and let me know if you would be willing to fly out there if the opportunity presented yourself to watch this fight. Now, getting back to the card, this makes perfect sense as to why Dana was unwilling to book Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier anytime sooner. See, Conor said, screw sitting on the sideline. I'm going to do my own exhibition. It's going to be for charity. You know, Dustin, let's do this. Let's make it happen. And, you know, Dana said, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, no one's having a fight without us, you know. So, of course, you know, Dana made sure that these two were going to fight for the UFC, a real fight, you know, that matters. And Conor said, well, let's do it before, you know, the year ends. Let's do it in 2020. And Dana said, no, we're not having this happen. You know, he was very adamant that it will not take place in 2020. He said they created a card specifically for this. And it's like, well, at the end of the day, they have a pay-per-view every month. So, of course, it was going to be a January card, you know, that they would have. Did he really have to create it, you know, specifically for this fight? Or was it already there? You know, I don't know. But there would have been a January pay-per-view at the end of the day. So, you know, with that being said, you know, there were other pay-per-views that needed a main event, you know, and there were several pay-per-views that lost their main events. And it wasn't like it was going to be a 2-week notice fight. You know, they would have had time to prepare and to get ready to go on and put on a great show. But Dana was adamant these fights would not take place before 2021. And it makes sense now. International Fight Week was the big grand idea that he had, but he just wasn't sharing it to everybody. He was playing it close to the chest and waiting for, you know, everything to fall through. Now, hopefully it'll fall through how he wants it to. Obviously, for us fight fans at home, it's definitely going to fall through because we're going to get, you know, awesome cards all week long. Now, as I said, in the main event for the first Saturday fight is going to be Max Bless Holloway, who's 21-6. He's actually 1-2 in his last 3 fights. He is the former 145 champion, and he lost in 2 title fights, basically, against Alexander Volkanovski. Now, I believe he won both of those fights, but it is what it is, as Holloway would say. And Dana just can't keep booking him in the main event against Volkanovski. So he's going to have to build himself up a little bit and then get everybody excited and then match these two off again. Now, like I said, he's going against Calvin Kattar, so that should be, really tough competition, but I do have Max probably getting the win in that card. Now, let's go over to the Chimaev card, which will take place that Wednesday. It'll be Chimaev versus Edwards. Now, Chimaev is 9-0, and he has a strike. He's outstruck his opponents by 196-2, which is unheard of, and if you look into the actual 3 fights that this has taken place, the last 2 fights, they've only attempted 1 strike and it didn't land. So he hasn't even had, a punch in his last 2 fights. So this guy could technically fight on a weekly basis because he takes absolutely no damage whatsoever. Now, I do expect that to change going up against Leon Edwards, who's currently on an 8-fight winning streak. He's 18-3, and his last loss was against the 170 champion Kamaru Usman. So this is going to be a really litmus test for Chimaev to see if he's really at the level to go up against these contender basically, and how he's going to fare. Chimaev is calling everybody out. If he's not calling out Israel Adesanya at 185, he's calling out Thompson, he's calling out Edwards. He just wants to fight. He just wants to get in there, and he thinks anybody that's in the 170 division or the 185 division can be beaten by him. He would like to be eventually a double champion in both divisions, and we'll see if he's really that good. Now, the last fight, which will take place that Saturday, it's going to be Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, is Dustin the Diamond Poirier and the Notorious Conor McGregor. Now, McGregor is 22-4 and coming off a 40-second knockout against Donald Cowboy Cerrone. So he didn't get to fight much in 2020, only for 40 seconds, and collected more money than any of these other UFC fighters, which is pretty crazy. Now, Dustin Poirier is coming out of a great victory himself. He got into it with Dan Hooker, and it was an absolute brawl. If you do have the opportunity to watch that fight, check it out. UFC typically likes to throw fights onto YouTube for free leading up to leading up to these massive cards. And I would suspect that the Dan Hooker versus Poirier fight would probably be one of them. It was a great fight. It was definitely a brawl. It was like rock'em sock'em bots. And basically Dan Hooker couldn't pull it off against Poirier. Poirier was just too good. Now, what's really interesting about these 2 fighters is that they are 1-1 in their last 2 fights, and both their losses came against the current champion Khabib Nurmagomedov, who is also retired. Now, Khabib supposedly is supposed to be at this event on Saturday, so it'll be exciting to see if he ends up, getting called out by Conor McGregor, if Conor were to win, or if Poirier were to win, or if they're trying to have a pre-meeting behind closed doors to try to work this out. Because as it stands, Khabib is saying he's retired. Danny is saying he is not retired. He is still the champion. So it's really, it's interesting to see how all of this is going to play out. There might be a little bit of drama, but there's definitely going to be a lot of action between all these fights. Well, I'm BPC. Go into the comment section below. Let me know who you think is going to win out of these 3 main events that I just talked about. And also, like I said, let me know if the opportunity arose where you were able to come to these events because they're going to open up to the public. Would you be willing to do that? Go to competitiveorigins.com, type in promo code MMA19. Thank you guys and have a great day.